Good evening. My name is Trevor once again, and tonight we're going to be doing something a little bit different. From now on, once a week, I'm going to read a very bad fan fiction that I find somewhere on the wondrous place known as the internet. From now on, I'll be posting these on Fridays, but I thought we'd get an early start to this series and post it on a Tuesday night, way too late for anybody to actually notice. Tonight's fan fiction is entitled Harmony Hippogriff at Hogwarts. Posted on December 8th, 2006, it ranks in at a whopping 11,000 words, none of which are good. For this reading, I'll be including all grammatical errors, spelling errors, and any and all mistakes that may be included in the transcript. So, let's get started. Chapter 1 of Harmony Hippogriff at Hogwarts by Hippogriff Girl 42. It was 7th year after the defeat of Voldemort. Everyone had come back and things were normal again, except Ron was dead, but no one really cared about that. At the opening feast that year, Professor McGonagall made a special announcement. She said, "Everyone, please rise to welcome a brand new transfer student from Los Angeles. Her name is Harmony Hippogriff, and she will be staying at Hogwarts for the year." A girl walked through the doors. The girl had hair the color of clouds on a winter's dawn. It was waist-length and very pale blue, almost white, the texture of fleecy clouds or lamb's wool. Her hair was shot through with strands of silver, gold, and bronze, like someone had drawn on it with a metallic pen. Her eyes were the palest shade of pink with a gold undertone, the shade of a sunrise on a winter's dawn. They were huge and dominated her small white face. She was so thin she looked anorexic, and her skin was completely white, the color of a fresh snow on a winter's dawn. She was wearing a short, sleeveless top covered in gold sequins, as well as high-heeled, knee-length boots, which were also in gold. Her skirt was so short it resembled a belt, and it was made entirely out of butterfly leaves. She gazed about shyly at the Hogwarts students as she walked into the Great Hall, and they all stared back, especially the boys. McGonagall called, "Harmony Butterfly Winter Dawn Hippogriff." The girl walked up to the Sorting Hat and sat down. Immediately the hat started talking to her in her head. It said, "Well, you're very clever, so maybe Ravenclaw. But you're also kind and loyal, so maybe Hufflepuff. There's nothing evil about you, Harmony, so definitely no Slytherin. But you're incredibly brave, so maybe Gryffindor? I don't know." Harmony was looking around the Great Hall with interest. Lots of the students were pretty cool looking. She especially liked the look of a boy with green eyes and crazy hair, and the intelligent-looking girl next to him who was obviously his girlfriend. "I want to be with them," she said. "Okay, Gryffindor," the hat called. Harmony triumphantly marched to her seat and sat down next to the handsome boy with messy ebony hair. The girl sitting next to him had chocolate eyes and hair, and from the way she was looking at the handsome boy, they were obviously deeply in love. Harmony smiled when she saw this. She loved to see loving couples because she planned to write romance novels someday. "Hi," she said. "My name's Harmony Hippogriff. Can I sit with you?" "Hi there, what an awesome name," the boy said, giving a jolly grin as his Quidditch-toned muscles were shown in relief under his tight black Armani shirt. "Are you American? Cool. I'm Harry Potter, and this is my friend, Hermione." "You have nice hair," said Hermione, her chocolate eyes shimmering with friendship. "Are you a metamorphagus?" Harmony Hippogriff shook her head. "No, I just have lots of good genes from my Vela ancestors." Then Harmony frowned as a third girl arrived on the scene. This girl was a redhead and very ugly, something she tried to compensate for with a trampish style of dress. This girl had her hair straightened and her figure had clearly been enhanced with socks. Harmony knew because she saw one poking out of the girl's collar. Harmony was embarrassed to be in the presence of someone so tarty. She turned her nose up, wondering how Harry and Hermione knew this brat. "Hi, Harry," this girl said in a slimy voice that sounded like it crawled up out of the sewers. "How was your holiday, my boy?" Then she started licking Harry's face in a really gross way, looking at Harmony with a cruel expression in her cruel, dark, brown eyes. "Hi, Jenny," Harry said, his dazzling green eyes overcome by lust as he looked at the tardy redhead. Hermione was turned away with a sad look in her eyes. Harmony realized to her sadness that Harry did not realize their love and was entrapped by the red-haired tramp. Tears formed in her lavender eyes as she felt Hermione's pain. She resolved to do something about this situation if her name wasn't Harmony Hippogriff. Chapter 2. Harmony Hippogriff was an instant hit at Hogwarts. After the first day, she stopped wearing the butterfly skirt and reverted to the uniform of the Los Angeles Academy for Superior and Gifted Young Witches. This uniform consisted of a red and white stripy miniskirt and a spangled blue top covered in white stars. There were also high-heeled boots covered in silver spangles and cat ears. Instead of a wand, Harmony twirled her silver baton, which shot out brilliantly colored flashes of magic. She was a very patriotic American and loved to sing the national anthem and make a pledge to the flag every morning. If anyone criticized the president or senator of magic in front of Harmony, she would give them a smack around the face, because it's the rudest thing for a foreigner to criticize the president. She was also filled with ideals about freedom and democracy, which was a bit puzzling for the Britishers, who had been raised under a tyrannical monarchy all their lives. She constantly told them about America and what an awesome place it was, especially Los Angeles, where all the coolest malls were. Her main friends were Harry and Hermione, but Harmony didn't like hanging around them when Ginny was around, which thankfully wasn't that often. Harry only liked to have Ginny to snog. They didn't have conversation or anything. She was also friends with some of the other Gryffindors, and Draco, who was one of the good guys now that Voldemort was defeated. She liked Draco because he was handsome, with his platinum hair like the snow on the winter dawn, stony gray eyes like the bare rocks on a winter's dawn, and cool, understated dress sense. She thought that one day she and Draco could be hero and heroine of their own romance novel. But first, she wanted to sort out Harry and Hermione because she felt so sorry for Hermione, who was so much in love. Harmony was very popular at Hogwarts. She was always doing crazy pranks, like sawing the legs of Flitwick's chair so he felt that he was getting shorter, or dyeing Hagrid's beard, or releasing starving dogs on Minerva when she was in cat form, or dropping water balloons in the Great Hall, or blocking all the toilets in the castle, or using fart charms. People said that she was like a new marauder. How the students all laughed when they saw the 4 huge ravenous Dobermans chasing the terrified cat. How they all laughed when Hagrid's beard turned spangly and purple. Harmony was a huge laugh. Harry and Hermione valued their new friend very much, but none of the teachers ever punished her because her pranks were so harmless and because she was so sweet and innocent. They only shook their heads and so, "Oh, Harmony, you are so wacky." Only Professor Snape didn't share their feelings. One day in his class, Harmony made all the potions turn to orange juice, and everyone was drinking and having a good time. Snape looked down his long nose, narrowed his ebony eyes, and said, "You are an idiot, Miss Hippogriff." Harmony's pale rose-petal eyes filled with crystalline tears, and she stared at Snape with her unnerving pink gaze. "Why are you so mean and cruel to everyone, Severus?" she kindly asked. "Perhaps you would be happier if your nature was sweeter and you said nice things to people instead of criticizing them all the time." Snape stared at Harmony, his black eyes fixing onto her small, innocent face. There was something disconcerting about the fixed, determined innocence and purity of Harmony's sunrise eyes. He looked at her and wished he could be pure, innocent, and kind to everyone, just like Harmony Butterfly Winter Dawn Hippogriff. Snape felt his cold, black, shark-like eyes begin to burn with tears. Harry and Hermione looked on, impressed by her immense courage. Snape burst into tears and fled from the potions dungeon, leaving a confused class behind. Immediately they all stood up and gave Harmony a starving ovation, or a standing ovation. Harmony's face glowed pale, dusky pink, like a winter's sunset. "Well done, Harmony! You showed him, said Neville. He was so abusive and favoritist, Goyle chimed in. He made me ashamed to be a Slytherin. Good on you for putting him in his place, Harmony. Maybe he'll be a nicer person from now on. Well done, Harry said, grinning at Harmony cheekily and rumpling his hair as Hermione looked at him adoringly. Draco also gave Harmony an admiring glance, but to her disappointment didn't say anything to Harmony. Then the class filed out and left since Snape had already gone, and just as Goyle had predicted, Snape started to be a nicer person from that day onwards. End of Chapter 2. Chapter 3. Harmony Hippogriff settled in well at Hogwarts, and a few months after she arrived, the faculty held a special Thanksgiving feast to honor their American guest. All the kids were amazed by the delicious food such as turkey and pumpkin pie. They were used to eating gross British food like sheep bladders and pig intestines and black puddings. There was even Coke to drink instead of the usual juice. All the students were at the feast except one. Snape was there, wearing a cheery yellow gown because he had ditched his miserable emo black. They were wearing normal clothes because it was a special holiday feast. Ginny wasn't there because some mischievous person had put a fart charm on her before the ceremony, and she was too embarrassed to leave the dormitory. Therefore, Hermione and Harmony could enjoy the feast without having to watch the stomach-churning sight of Ginny molesting Harry every 15 seconds. Harmony was wearing an evening gown entirely made out of purple butterfly wings. She had gold strappy sandals on, and her pale blue hair was swept into a messy bun, with 2 gold pins like Japanese style. Diamonds, emeralds, and rubies clustered in a delicate flower necklace at the base of her throat. Her nails were painted gold, and her pale pink eyes glittered like a frosty sunrise on a winter dawn. All the teachers smiled and waved as Harmony walked past the staff table. She had quickly become a favorite. "Hello, Hippogriff," Hagrid said, waving. She sat down next to Harry, giving Draco a quick wave. Harry and Hermione were smiling at each other, which filled Harmony's heart with joy. Perhaps this would be the night when they finally realized their love, and Harry ditched Ginny behind. Harry was looking particularly dashing tonight in his fetching Armani suit with diamond cuffstones, and Hermione was wearing a chocolate velvet evening dress with puffed sleeves. The feast went magnificently, and everyone exclaimed over how good the food was. Harmony ate half a turkey and 2 pumpkin pies, along with a huge bowl of mashed potatoes. Though she was so thin she looked almost anorexic, she had a naturally speedy metabolism and could pretty much eat whatever she wanted. She washed down her meal with a delicious, refreshing Coke. "Thank you, Vila ancestors," she said. Harry and Hermione were having an intimate conversation, which Harmony didn't want to intrude on. But then Hermione blurted out, "This reminds me of the time I tasted pumpkin." Abruptly, the atmosphere changed. Harry blushed bright red, stood up from the table, and fled from the room, his crystal glasses flashing in the light from the candles. Everybody looked up in surprise, shook their heads, and returned to eating their delicious American food. Hermione turned to Harmony. Her chocolate eyes were sparkling with bitter tears that shone like diamond pearls dropped in the dazzling light of the candles. There was a look of unbearable desolation on her face. Harmony was startled. "Oh dear, Hermione, what on earth is wrong?" she asked, putting down her fork. "I shouldn't have said that," wailed Hermione, chocolate despair in her gaze. "Not to my dear boy Harry." She leapt from her seat and rushed out of the great hall, her chocolate velvet gown shimmering behind her. Harmony stopped, wondering what unbearable desolation had engulfed her poor friend. She left her bowl of delicious bubblegum ice cream and ran out afterwards. She found Hermione sitting on the balcony, weeping to the glorious diamond-studded velvet of the unheeding heavens. Tears were streaming down Hermione's face, and her long caramel hair was tangled with misery and desolation. "Hermione, are you all right?" Harmony asked, running out in her gold, strappy sandals. Hermione turned and faced her, and the agony of 1,000 faces was reflected in those chocolate eyes. But then she smiled a bittersweet smile. "Oh, Harmony," she said softly, "this may surprise you, but I am deeply in love with Harry Potter, the boy who lived." "Yes, I knew as soon as I saw that you two were meant to be," Harmony said. "Don't worry, Hermione. Love never fails. Harry will lose that piece of dirt clinging to his arm and see you. Hermione's coffee eyes shone with appreciation and astonishment that her American friend could have seen the truth. "How did you know?" she said. "Anyone could have seen it," Harmony happily said. "But let me tell you the whole truth, Harmony," Hermione said. "It will make more sense then. The first time I tasted pumpkin was back in 4th year. We had a delicious feast for our European guest, which included a pumpkin teriyaki salsa pizza. Everyone loved it and was eating slice after slice. When me and Harry took a walk outside afterwards, it was a magical evening. It was a warm summer night, and there were shooting stars and comets in the air. A huge full moon hung above us, and the sweet smell of roses filled the night. Harry suddenly turned and looked at me with the moon reflecting in his beautiful green eyes. Hermione paused while tears gathered in her chocolate gaze. Harmony listened rapturously to this fantastic tale of true love, remembering all the details for her romance novels. Then he started singing this cool Muggle song about a mysterious girl. His husky, deep voice filled the night and made me sing inside. I started singing Mysterious Boy back and swinging my hips over his hips. He looked me in the eye and said, "Hermione, even though I've known you for years, you're still so mysterious." I giggled. Our lips neared. We had a rapturous kiss. Fairies danced around us and made the shape of a heart. We broke apart and gazed into each other's eyes. Neither of us knew what to say. Then Harry smiled and said, "Hermione, you taste of pumpkin teriyaki salsa pizza." We both started laughing. It was the most romantic moment of my life. Hermione let out a deep sigh of happiness, but there were still tears in her eyes. Harmony was puzzled. What could have caused this night of perfect romance to go wrong? Hermione's forehead crinkled as she evidently remembered. Then our stupid friend Ron Weasley, you never met him, came bursting out of the castle screaming, "I must be a woodcutter because I've just dropped a giant log," and waving this piece of poop around. That totally ruined the moment. We broke apart. Harry had a regretful look in his eye and he couldn't meet my eye. We didn't talk about it. Then 2 years later, he ended up with that Weasley tramp. And whenever I ask him why, he blushes and says he hates Ginny but can't seem to break away from her. It's like she's got him under some sort of spell. Hermione sighed and looked into the diamond archives of the heavens. "You don't think," Harmony said slowly, "that she could have him under a love potion, do you?" Hermione looked at her startled and shrugged. "I don't know. Ginny's very dumb, so it's unlikely. You shouldn't worry about my problems, Harmony. I just want my boy Harry to be happy at the end of the day." She fled the scene in tears. Harmony let her go, understanding her need for privacy. She frowned and resolved to solve the problem of the Ginny tramp once and for all. She turned and marched back to the castle, but as she walked, she noticed something disturbing. She paused and looked about, but shrugged and went back in. But Harmony Hippogriff was worried by the vague smell of farts in the air. Fiction reading of Harmony Hippogriff at Hogwarts. Look forward to the next 3 chapters on Fan Fiction Friday. Again, my name is Trevor, and I hope you have a good evening.